Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Ooze from the Office number 2. In case you guys don't know me, my name is John Coviello. I own the Little Shop of Magic out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we started doing these hangouts about a week ago, actually, week to this day. The whole purpose of these is basically we want to bring you guys some insights into the ins and out of our industry from the inside, basically. People that have been doing this for a while. Me, myself, I've owned the store for about 19 years, and we know a lot of people. A lot of our friends have a lot of knowledge and have been doing this for a while. So hopefully you guys can get some insights into what we do every day. So this can be watched on YouTube Live right now, and on YouTube Live right now on Google Plus, and it'll also be posted on our YouTube channel. If you go to www.shopofmagic. Excuse me for a second. All right, sorry about that, folks. Anyways, like I was saying, www.shopofmagic.com. From there, you can find our YouTube channel, our Google Plus channel. This episode will be posted there once we are done airing it live. The whole idea with doing it live versus doing a very kind of slick production would be to encourage you guys and to give you guys a chance to basically ask us questions. So if you feel like chiming in, please do so. Okay. Today I am joined by Wanner and Anthony Carillo. They're good friends of ours and customers of the store. I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves here in just 1 second. And we will be talking about Gen Con 2013. So without further ado, let me see if I can get this to go. Let's see if we can get JT to introduce himself. JT, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes. My name is JT Wanner. I'm a transplant to Las Vegas and found Little Shop of Magic through my game store in Indianapolis, or in Anderson, Indiana, a few years ago, four years ago, I think, and been playing games for 13, 14 years. I tend to focus. I have a background with a lot of card-playing games, LCGs, CCGs, TCGs, all of the above. And then now that I'm in Vegas, I'm a really, really big miniatures player and a big pusher of many different miniatures games. So I've been doing that. Have a little experience in designing some games, not necessarily all successful, but had a lot of fun doing it. Been helping some friends out, and yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right, that's great. Thanks, JT. Anthony, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, name's Anthony Carillo. I'm a born and bred Las Vegas local where there's not many of us. I've been playing games since I was little. I started to do with like D&D and board games with just friends, and then found Little Shop of Magic it was next to a sushi restaurant I went to, and they were playing Star Wars miniatures by Wizards of the Coast, and that's what hooked me. And then I started playing War Machine, and now everything else, pretty much. And then drove me enough to try to design my own board game, which is coming out, called Big Angry Monsters, which I'm hoping to have on Kickstarter by the end of this month, hopefully.
And which, by the way, guys, so the next hangout we were doing, we'll have Anthony again, because we'll be talking a little bit about what goes into game design. So if you guys want to join us for that, haven't quite set the date yet. We're looking sometime in the September, beginning of October. We'll post it on our social media and on our website once it's ready to go. So, okay, that's great. So the focus of this is Gen Con 2013. If you guys don't know what Gen Con 2013 is, it is an annual convention. It is correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but it's the largest in the United States, the largest gaming convention, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe 49,000 people last year. Sorry, this year.
Yes.
So both JT and Anthony were lucky enough to go. I managed to go 2 years ago, but of course, since work is work, this year and last year I couldn't go. But what we want to do today is talk a little bit about Gen Con is like a big launching bed for a lot of the new releases in our industry. So I'm hoping that JT and Anthony can give us some insights on, hey, what's new, what's hot, or what flew under our radar that's already out and we don't know about it, we should be paying attention to. JT, you want to start off?
Sure. As far as what's new, like I said, I'm really, really big into miniatures. I do have to, and I forgot to bring up a picture of it right now, but there is a really, really great skirmish game actually out of Indiana called Mercs that is very small buy-in. It's very fast play, and I wanted to give a good shout out to them. They've been really good about supporting what supporters do and being really friendly at Gen Con, giving great demos. Their models look fantastic. I think Ant has it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty quick, so.
But it's a very fast-paced, different mega corporations fighting each other. So you have North America, Europe, Russia, South America, a group called Texaco, which is kind of Latin America, all kinds of these different mega corporations. Right now, each group has either 6 or 7 models out. There is no point system. You pick 5 models and you play your opponent. It makes it for very fast play. Games are done in well under an hour. Buy-in is about $60 to get the entire game. It's definitely become one of my favorite skirmish games that's out there. Just for the fact of very little setup. You're able to play it at a bar table. I've done it. You can use your glasses. You can use your kitchen table.
So what? 3x3, JT?
2x3, 3x3, 4x4. You can really play on anything. The smaller the table, just put some more terrain out there. So it's not
Glasses, some salt and pepper shakers.
Salt and pepper, ketchup bottles.
Yeah, JT and them have been talking a lot about it to me, and I played it for the first time at Gen Con. So I played like an intro group, and then I liked it so much I picked up a second army. So what's when you guys talk small unit, right? What are we talking about here? Pieces, 3 to 5, 10, 15.
You play with each army. You play with 5 models each. You pick 5 models. There are a couple things out there that come with, like, one model comes with a dog, so you'd have 6 models out there. One model can drop a turret, so you'd have 6 models out there. But you pick 5 models to play with. They're like I said, there's no point cost. Everything is very well balanced. Most of the armies tend to have different variations on kind of the same things. So every group has a leader. Every group has a support unit, a medic or a booster or something like that. Every group has a sniper. Every group has a heavy troop. And you pick 5 of those, and you are able to play the game right out of the box.
So game mechanics wise, are we talking about, like, is it a you go, I go kind of thing, independent unit activation?
They are independent activations. You roll on initiative for each model that you have, and then you go from the top down. So if I roll a 10 and a 9, and Ant rolls 8, 8, 7, then my 10 and 9 go before his. And you roll initiative at the beginning of each round, so it does switch things up. You can have a really bad round where everything goes on a 1 or 2, and your opponent's going before you. But it is very tactically based. It's not, like I said, it is very well balanced. I have not run into any problems where I'm like, wow, that piece is just so overpowered. What do I do against it? It does seem like even, my guy who has 1 shot every other round or whatever can still get the job done as much as, the opponent's model who is firing, 7 shots around or something.
Cool. And you already talked about it. So I'm guessing there's a rule book and then some starter sets kind of situation.
Yeah, every faction has a starter set. I believe that all the models available, minus the brand new ones that just came out at Gen Con, are in starter sets. The starter sets also come with dice that are kind of matched to the studio's paint job, if you want to pick those up. They also have movement is not in inches. They use their own stat cards for movement and range and templates and all of the above. So you don't need a ruler. You can literally open the box, put stuff on bases, and start playing, because there's also a quick start rule guide in there that will get you started playing.
Cool. So, and this, like you were pointing out, this is something that's already been out. They just had some new models at Gen Con. So,
Yes.
if you guys look for it, you should be able to find it. Who
Yeah, it
is
was the 7th model of the faction, right? I think that's what
Yes, seventh models for factions came out.
Okay. So, and is this something I forgot? Is it is it a U.S. manufacturer or?
I believe so. They're out of. I know the designers and everybody are out of Indianapolis or north of Indianapolis, but because I went there when I was still living in Indy, and they were like, they saw my bank card and were like, "Oh, local boy." I was like, "You're from Indy. I have to buy more of your game now." So
So
they
we need to get.
have a lot of really good people at the in the company. They're very good at demos. They actually have a new board game coming out called Myth, which was on Kickstarter a few months ago. I think it's going to hit shelves this year, maybe. Don't quote me on that. But they were giving demos for that at Gen Con, and it's kind of a fantasy. You play the hero, and you're fighting the darkness, magic missiles at the darkness kind of thing. The thing that I thought was a really interesting concept for that one was that the enemy is on autopilot and will be triggered by certain things that the heroes do. So if my fighter uses so many action points, after so many of them are spent on the hero side, the evil side automatically activates and takes their turn and could interrupt. So you, as a group, as a cooperative group, have to make the decision of, okay, do we really want to spend all of these action points on this one character and then possibly have him get completely annihilated because he's the closest one to the darkness or to the enemy? And so it becomes a resource management game at the same time. So it sounds very interesting, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try.
So back to this one, is this going to be one of those kind of like board games, miniature games in disguise of board games? Is that how they're packaging it, or is it a full-blown miniature game?
No. It is a board game with miniatures in it, and then lots and lots of cards as well. They have a very interesting activation mechanic where the fighter has his own deck of cards that has his abilities. And he draws so many of those and is able to, combo things together and use certain abilities to rush forward and then attack afterward. Now, all of these cost different action points. So it once again becomes a resource management of how much do you want to do in one turn before the rest of your heroes go. Because it could get to the point where, yes, you're rushing in there and you're being the hero and you're the fighter and you're killing a whole bunch of stuff, but then suddenly the darkness activates and spawns 20 more guys and you're completely surrounded. So was it worth it to have your character basically get in the thick of it without the rest of your team with you? So it definitely feels like an RPG. Like, they've done a very good job of making it a team-based RPG at the same time as a board game, where you don't have to sit down and roll up characters and have that whole preparation. You can sit down and this week I want to be the fighter, next week I want to be the bard, the next week I want to be the druid, and be able to just sit down and play a storyline and be able to do that.
Right, and then also I like the autopilot thing because we've been playing Descent now as a campaign for several months, and there's always that one of us has got to be the bad guy. So it's kind of I like the idea of the autopilot on the bad guys.
Yes. One of the other new things, and I did have a picture for this, that I am very, very excited about is another miniatures game from Antimatter Games. They have previously released Shadowsea, which I confess I don't know that much about. Deep Wars, on the other hand, for all of you old miniature players who played GW games and miss campaign-based games such as Mordheim, this one may be for you. Deep Wars is set in the ocean. Everything is played under the water, whether it's the shallow shelf, the abyssal deeps, open water where you're floating around.
JT, excuse me for a minute. Can you see him, Anthony? Because all I got is...
I saw the picture he was showing.
Okay, there we go. Now we got Deep Wars. We couldn't see it. Go ahead.
I saw it.
Okay. So it's all taking place under the ocean. There's 4 factions to begin with, but they have a very, very well built way to build your own factions. So I can build a water Pokemon faction. I can build a Merfolk faction by buying all of the Reaper minis that are Merfolk. I can build a Snorks faction if I want. Because
so for the record, JT, you build a Pokemon underwater or anything, and I'm gonna beat you up in the parking lot.
Well, that is my current plan, actually. They actually also have some absolutely I have not done research into who is doing their sculpting, but or their concept art. They are doing some excellent sculpts, and the concept art is very gorgeous. The concept art is translating to the sculptures. I was actually able to demo this, which is the third picture. They had a beautiful, beautiful board set up with lots of underwater terrain. I'm very excited about building terrain for this because I'm going to go to PetSmart and I'm going to buy a whole bunch of stuff to set up this underwater feel.
And the other thing that was cool was all the terrain is interactive.
Yes. So the giant clam that you see on my screen right now, if you moved within a short distance of that, it would reach out and attack you.
Sure, and the other real cool thing about it, right? It's one of the few miniature games I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong. That takes place on different levels, right? So your miniatures have a.
Yes. So you can play like that. We were in the shallow shelf region, which is where they say, just a real quick aside. They had a marine biologist help them out writing the book. So a lot of the wildlife.
Hold on for a second.
Yeah. Anthony has some of the models. Yeah. We have already purchased some of them. So a lot of the wildlife.
My lovely assistant Dan.
Oh boy, lovely is a relative term here.
But we were playing in the shallow shelf, going back to levels. You can move up and down. You can be on the ground floor, and then you can say, well, I'm going to go up to level 2, and that allows you to see, over the top of terrain. So somebody may be hiding behind that giant clam, but you move up a level, and suddenly you can see over them and now fire at them. So having that 3D aspect really, really helps with the belief that you are actually playing under the water. I am currently in love with this game. I already finished the rulebook. The rulebook is very short, very concise. There's not a lot of room to be questioning all this kind of stuff because they were so well. They have thought out the rules and they have been doing revisions. And sounds like they've been play testing a lot. I believe these guys are from the East Coast. I want to say maybe Baltimore. Don't quote me on that, but I do know it's East Coast. I've been watching Deep Wars for 6-8 months, and so being able to demo at Gen Con was like my golden moment. Like I saw the table and I was like, that looks like Deep Wars. I have to do this.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but I think we started. This came on our radar about 2012 when it was on the table. That podcast, that video cast we show in the store, and I knew I'm a big theme person. I knew right off the bat just by looking. It was kind of like Drop Zone Commander moment, right? Once I saw the models, I was like, we got to have this. So getting feedback from you guys, knowing that the game actually plays well too, that's definitely good to hear. Now
we demoed it when we were there. So it was really fun.
It uses a game system, and I was not familiar with it, so I don't want to get this wrong. It uses the power. It is powered by the Song of Blades rule set, which I was not familiar with.
I know it in passing. It never really caught on in the store, but yeah.
If that's what it's based off of, then I can only assume that that game is also very good because I am very pleased with the way this is. It has just enough of the press your luck factor that it keeps you from, I guess, just going completely aggressive because you have to warrant. If I roll poorly on this model and it's my first model, the turn could shift. and immediately, before you even get to activate anything past that first model, go back to your opponent. Because you pushed a little bit too far, and you rolled too many failures on an activation roll, and suddenly it's no longer your turn, and you're like, well, crap. How do I get to that scientific device that I now need to activate after basically losing a turn?
All right.
And
I am super excited about this one, definitely, JT. But two more questions before we move on. We don't want to spend too much time on any one game. Well, they're all great by all means. But so I was noticing two things. One, is it like scenario driven, or is it straight up pretty much beat the?
The campaign mode is definitely scenario driven, and they have given a lot of room for kind of writing your own scenarios within theirs. So they have a very broad one where it may be, oh, find this device. Well, okay, you find the device, but then what do you do after that? So you could make it, if you can drag the device off of the table by the end of the game, which they have a very strict 10-turn limit in the game, and they say you can make it shorter, but they do not suggest going above 10 turns. 10 rounds, sorry. And so they have left their scenarios open to not interpretation, but kind of making it more to your standards, I guess. So, and then obviously you gain experience and you can buy things in the campaign mode, just like you could in Wartime and that sort of thing. And when your characters die, you have to roll to find out if they're actually dead or if they're able to be revived on a table and chart. And in the book, they have made the tables and charts so incredibly clear. Like, it is, this is the way, and I told all the guys that I've kind of talked into this game, I'm like, this is the way a game book should be written.
Yeah. And that's also exciting news. I mean, we've been doing miniature campaigns in the store for 19 years, and no disrespect to 40K or Fantasy or any of those bigger games per se. One of the things we found is anything that has a solid campaign mechanics, like Mordenheim, Necromunda, it just engages the player, because even if you're not on top of the heap, you're not doing so well, you still want to play because you want to level up, you want to find out what happens to your guy, so... cool. So then the other question I had for you about Deep Wars, and then I can move on to the next thing, would be what do we, when I was doing the pre-orders for the store, and yes, we are carrying this in the store shortly as soon as they get their button gear, shipping the stuff to me, there's two sets of rules? Is that what I'm seeing? There was like a Deep Wars and then another one, I can't remember the name of it.
They have another game called Shadow Sea, which
that's the one.
I'm not going to lie, I honestly know nothing about it, other than it is in the same type of world or in the same world exactly. It's one of the two.
I think what I read was the Shadow Sea is all above ground.
Okay.
And then the Deep Wars is all underwater. But I think that it's the same rule set except the depths, from what I was reading.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, you got something else for us, JT?
I can let Ant talk. I'm going to grab a glass of water real quick. And
okay,
then,
no problem.
I'm trying to, my video's
have a couple more
stuck on screen share, which is being really silly.
Have you tried unscreen sharing?
Yeah, it's not stopping it.
Oh, well then. That's okay. It can't be a hangout without some technical difficulties.
All right. Well, I can talk without the the stuff. So, one of the main reasons, well, it ended up being one of the main reasons I went to Gen Con was I ended up going to the playtest hall for the game I'm doing. So what was cool with that is...
You can plug it. It's okay. What are you doing?
For Big Angry Monsters. So they have a thing where you pay the $250, where if I would have known, I could have gotten 2 GM badges for free and then demoed the game for $250. So I could have got into the convention for $250 plus demoed my game, where they gave me 4 2-hour slots.
So what'd you end up doing? Just getting... I'm confused. What happened?
No, I was just saying, if I knew ahead of time, I wouldn't have had to buy a regular Gen Con badge.
Ah, I see. Well, you're supporting the game industry.
Yeah,
you're good.
Well, they were telling me afterwards that I could have got a refund, but but it was too late.
Ask him, shoot them an email, see if they'll give you tickets for next year. I mean, they might just do it.
So what they did was they set me up with 4 2-hour blocks where I didn't have to rally anybody together. they just let anybody come in if they wanted to play free games. They turned in these free tickets, and then they got to play brand new games. So that's what I ended up doing for 3 of the days.
And for the record, folks, what you're looking at here, this is pre-production stuff, so the final components will be definitely different. But you can start seeing some of the artwork. I forget, who's the artist you got for this?
His name's Jared Moratis. Or Beast Pop Artworks is like his branding, and then Beast Rec is his shop. He has like 4 names. So, but he's really good. He's doing the entire art for the whole game. Maybe except the board that I found water for. But yeah, the playtest went really well. I got some really awesome feedback and some good tweaks and suggestions from everybody. It was actually really helpful. They even had a girl who was colorblind come test the game to see how it was to someone who was vision impaired. So I got a lot of good feedback on like how some of the art may have been too busy and whatnot. So.
Sure, and I can tell you I'm partially colorblind, so whenever designers go the extra mile and just do like a symbol versus just a color, it helps us out a lot.
Yeah, because on my dice, originally I had a power icon that was red and then green for drain and gain, and then I'm going to totally switch that so it's not the same symbol. So is the route I'm going to end up going. So.
Cool. Okay, so bring in few monsters. What else would you say was hot over there? I mean.
What was really cool was Takinoko.
Yeah, and by the way, the pox upon thee. You cost me $300.
If you have not looked at Asmodee games, then you are missing out as far as board games, because they keep producing these incredibly beautiful, bright colors games. And I'll let Ant talk about Takinoko specifically, but every time I walked by the booth, I was like, what is that game? There's so many colors, I have to look at it.
One more second. So for anybody, I've noticed some people have just joined us. This is John from the Little Shop of Magic. I'm hanging out with JT and Anthony Carillo, and we are talking about Gen Con 2013. If you guys want to watch this broadcast afterwards, it's on our YouTube channel. So interestingly enough, speaking about Asmodee, you're right. It was weird. They did a couple of good games initially, and then it was kind of like a moratorium. So I don't know if they were designing all this stuff, but then it was like, I think Seasons came out at the same time as Takenoko, and there was another game that's also very good. It's weird. It's got like cat people in it.
The timeline game that they're coming out with, that they have a whole bunch of different, I don't know if they're expansions or just different versions of it. That I know was selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, it's already out. It's been in the shop for several weeks, but which is incidentally another thing about this Gen Con. Normally, okay, I play devil's advocate. Us players kind of are a little frustrated with the Gen Con phenomenon, because what happens is a lot of manufacturers pull back and wait for the Gen Con release, and so we have this month-long drought of nothing coming out, and then slam, everything comes out at once, and we have to figure out where to spend our money. This year, they made a much better job of releasing stuff at the same time as Gen Con, the week afterwards, or this week, which is the following week. So, but anyways, back to Takenoko. Sorry, Ann.
Yeah, no, I owned Takenoko when it first came out originally, and when we were at Gen Con, they had in a display case this giant version, which apparently was the collector's edition. I thought it was just a giant version.
That panda is about, what, a couple inches tall? I mean, it's beautiful in the regular edition.
Yeah, right? I think the normal edition, the panda is probably about 3/4 of the size of the small bamboo, like one of the pieces of the bamboo. So the game is a lot smaller. So this version was like a giant collector's edition version. So I saw it there, and I was like, oh, here's going to be my crazy purchase for Gen Con for when I went for, so technically I thought it was so pretty that I own 2 of the game now. So
well, I don't own 2. I held off, but yes, you made me buy that giant version. It is absolutely gorgeous. And forgetting forgetting the giant version itself, guys, you owe it to check out this game, because we've played it, and it's just a lot of it's a Euro style game, definitely. So hopefully if that's your cup of tea, you want to give Takenoko a shot. This giant version is just incredible.
Well, it's an easy enough game that I don't know the exact age ranges on it, but I could definitely see kids as young as 6 playing it, because you're kind of matching up the colors of the tiles, along with like the colors of the bamboo, and getting the panda to eat things. And it's definitely a game that families can purchase.
Yeah.
And it's pretty enough that I know me as a child would be like, "What is this?" It's really bright.
But then it also has a lot of strategy in depth, where it's actually like a really strategic game to play it. It's not just like an easy kids game.
But that's why I love those kind of games where me as an adult I can play it with my nephew, you know, and still enjoy the game without having to like want to rip my eyes out, basically. But yet the kids might not get all the finesse of it, but they can still hang with us and play. And half the time they kick my butt. So and I should point out something, guys. The pictures, the way you see them here, that's how it comes. It is fully painted, ready to go out of the box. It comes in a gorgeous wood.
Even the original one is fully painted as well.
Yeah, that one comes in a cardboard box. The limited edition one is in a pine box. They should have made bamboo. I don't know why they didn't do bamboo.
Yeah, there's the box there on the left there. And then that's the regular edition next to it. But there you see the small panda next to him, right there.
Oh yeah. Cool.
But that was one real cool thing. And then I'm a Doctor Who fan. So they had a full-size TARDIS.
Did it make the noise?
No, it didn't make the noise. And the door didn't open either. I didn't get the key.
But I like that noise.
And this is where the retailer side of me kicks in, because I think when I went 2 years ago, one of the guys it was that, but it was actually a display space. So it was TARDIS on two sides, and the other side, they had shelving to put the games on for sale, right? I think it was the Doctor Who action figures they were selling.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of really cool stuff there. It was my first trip to Gen Con, and I would definitely go back again. Like in the Privateer press booth, they had all their competition painting there. You know, they were painting the studio model for their upcoming Colossal, for the Mercenary Colossal. Where's he painting it? I had a picture of him painting it. I thought
they were painting it there at Gen Con.
This was the model they were using for the box shot.
This is the first time that has been seen in public. So for War Machine players, that was kind of a big deal. Like, holy cow! Like, we've seen the computer renderings of it, but this is the first time it's been seen in person.
Yeah.
You know, that's an interesting trend. It seems like between War Machine, 40K, everything is starting to switch to these gigantic models. I'm like, I think the term miniature is losing a little bit of meaning here. But
and then they also have the restaurant there that we went to. How many times did we go there, JT? Like 4?
Oh, the Ram?
The Ram?
4 times? 5 times?
Yeah, where they actually convert the whole restaurant to War Machine.
War Machine. They convert their menu to have like War Machine names. Like they had the Judicator Burger, which is like this pretzel burger with nacho cheese with Minoff's Wrath cheese or something like that. And they've renamed all the beers. Each year the Ram. There's the Judicator Burger.
I don't want to know what that looks like coming out, guys. It's a Judicator.
Right. Each year, the big thing is that they do a new beer. They brew a whole new beer and name it for Gen Con and name it for something that's coming out this year. War Machine players will know that the Convergence of Cyrus came out this year, and so this year they had the Steel Soul Protector Red. And they do shirts each year, which I can grab one of them.
So, Anthony, is this because, I mean, like I said, I've only been once in 19 years of owning the shop, literally, because that's the beauty of owning a store. It means you don't get to do the fun stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
But is the owner of the Ram like a War Machine crazy nut guy, or is he just...
JT knows a little more than I do, and it seems like it, but it was pretty cool. Like... It was pretty impressive that they do the whole menu, and all of these banners are up in the restaurant, like everywhere. First night we were there was a huge line just to even get in.
Yeah, here's the T-shirts for this year. They do a T-shirt every year for the beer that's coming out,
and a model,
and a mug.
Okay, you sold me at the mug. I was like, they need to do mugs, man, because I'd be there.
And then they also do special edition models of the beer. So this year they had a special edition Steel Soul Protector that's sitting on a pile of kegs. And last year they had like the Druid Gone Wilder, which was a Circle of Ouroboros model that's sitting on a beer stein or something like that, and has hers up in the air. And, so that's been a lot of fun to see that each year. Yeah, there's the Steel Soul Protector, Steel Soul Keg Protector.
I see.
And these are usable in the game. I think the only one that doesn't have rules is from years ago that had
the kilt lifter.
Kilt lifter.
Yeah.
But the first night is actually the night before Gen Con starts, they always do the big keg tapping, and that's always a really big event where they'll, to actually get a table there that night is, 2-3 hour wait, and then, good luck getting any service. But so on night one, I usually just go down there and buy my T-shirt and then leave.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to think what's next. I can talk about. I know Ant played in a couple games. I played in Netrunner, North American Championship qualifier, something or other. It was Netrunner. I guess to explain, is a living card game. It is, which means that there are no booster packs and such the way you would think of, where you're chasing rares and